Well, it's a slightly breezy day. Morning all. Yeah, ready to just wander onto the beach. The waves are looking big. So, yeah, it could be interesting in a minute. Bought the Rx10 with me this morning just because there's big waves. I might do a bit of slow motion video. But also, I've got a nice range, haven't I? The sun is trying. So, yeah. I think the tide is out, but it's so much waves and so much wind, the tide is not out. So, yeah, bit bizarre. But anyway, I'll see you out on the beach, ready to get blown to bits, I think. I think that's the thing, because the swirl is pretty big. The waves are crashing out, I'll probably be about a mile away. So, yeah, anyway, let's go and have a little snap. Woo. We have sunshine for once in our life. It's pretty cool. With all the mist and the spray and everything coming up. It's pretty mad. I don't even know if you can hear me. I've got a mic on, but seagulls are loving it. Cruising about. Right in front of the sun as well, look at that. Friend Matt's down, we're taking some pictures. Woo! That seagull's loving life. Anyway, I'm going to try and take some photos now. Rx10's going to get a beating. Anyway, let's see what we capture. The spray is quite epic. Woo! Matt's there and you can see how big the waves are splashing. Either he's going to get wet in a second, possibly. Yep, time to move backwards. Alright, I'm going to try and get some shots out to sea, I think. Splashing up. Haven't seen it like this for a long time. Oh, this wind. So, using the Rx10 Mark IV and the Pocket 3 from DJI, the Pocket 3 can record 4K 120, which is really nice, and it actually slows it down in camera for you. You don't get any sound, which is handy because I can just voice over. Obviously with the Rx10, not quite the same resolution, but you can do up to 1,000 frames per second, which has its uses in very good light and sort of close subjects like bees and things like that. It's quite cool to do. This worked really nicely, as you can see. The Rx10 is pretty good at 500 frames per second, which you'll see later in the video as well. So both have the uses, and 4K 120 fully stabilized is just brilliant on the DJI Pocket 3. It's amazing to have, and because it's so small, it doesn't really get blown around very much as well, so that's really nice. And even though I had mic on, it was so windy that even though the mic was inside my coat, with a sort of little dead squirrel or whatever on it, it was still picking up all the wind a little bit, so it did its best. But like I say, it was 55 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour gusts, and you know, it was pretty hectic. But I'm glad the sun came out. That was really nice, because I haven't seen that for a while. It's just been raining and raining and raining, wind, freezing cold, and then more wind, and then more rain tomorrow, I think, as well. So anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd put this out there, and let's get back on the video, and there'll be some photos near the end that I'd taken as well. Right, so that was interesting. Very, very windy. Cars' windows are absolutely caked in spray. Pocket 3 is covered in muck as well, actually. I don't know if you can actually see that on... It's probably so close to the lens itself, the actual lens cover itself is covered in crap. It looks like sand, to be fair, so I have to be a bit careful cleaning that. Rx10 completely soaked and covered in muck. Managed to keep the lens relatively clean. The lens hood isn't that big, so you do end up with a bit of spray sometimes on there. As you can see, it's a little bit damp, as is the camera, so I'll get it wiped down a bit later. Yeah, so shot a little bit of HFR, so 500 frames per second, and a load of stills as well, and there was waves crashing in, splashing up over the I don't know what you call them, like the concrete, I suppose outfall, so storm water outfall or something like that it's called. Crashes into it and then just goes splash everywhere, so it's quite cool. With the sun behind it, so we had a bit of sunshine, which is still out now, believe it or not. So I'm going to head down the road a bit and see what else I can find. So this shot here is literally looking down the beach a couple of 100 metres and just getting the seagulls basically buzzing around, being blown around. They were loving it. I think I would as well if I was a bird, as you can see there. More, and a massive crash up there onto the stormwater concrete outfall with what I call lampshades on them. It's a post with a thing on the top, so you can kind of see where it is if it's underwater, but I was used to call them lampshades. But as you can see, another shot there, and you know, it was pretty good. The light was okay, obviously with the sun. There's a bird there that came flying over the top of the railing there from down on the pavement, and the Rx10 still locking on, no drama whatsoever. So do we really need all the modern stuff now if the Rx10 is still doing very, very well? That's the thing, technology has moved on, but it doesn't mean the cameras you own now from even 5, 6, 7 years ago aren't bad. So lots of spray everywhere, and my cameras are soaked. I got covered in it. The Pocket 3 got covered in it. The Rx10 got covered in it. But it's worth it when you get shots like that with the sun coming out behind the explosion of water in the waves. So that was really quite cool. Shutter speeds, I was sort of shooting. That's Matt. Yeah, give Matt a follow on Instagram if you want. I'll put his link in the description. But shutter speeds wise, I was anywhere up to 1/20,000th of a second, depending on what I was doing. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But the average, I think, was probably like 2,000th of a second, something like that. f5.6. There you can see I've got a bit of a dirty lens where the spray's got on it, and that's hence why it's casting the little lines. And that's what you see with mobile phone cameras doing a lot as well, because they haven't got any aperture control. Not that I haven't got aperture control on the Rx10, but on mobile phones generally don't, so you end up with castings of light with from dirt, grease and watermarks and stuff like that, which is obviously not brilliant, and that's due to the spray coming on. And the downside of the Rx10, because you've got such a range, 24 to sort of 600 equivalent, your sunshade has cutouts on it, and it's not that deep, because obviously it's got to allow for the wide angle view at 24. So if you are at sort of 3, 4, 5, 600, it is a little bit limited on how much protection you've got. But if I was using my 200 600 on the A1, for example, I've got a massive lens hood on there, and it really stays clean really quite well. So yeah, difference in tools and equipment, but there you go, it still did pretty well. Please click the subscribe button, little notification bell as well. More videos coming soon. Slight delay on the podcast. Hopefully people have started watching the other 2 episodes. If you haven't seen it yet, please go and have a nose. The real world chats to artists, photographers, videographers, and painters, sculptors, writers, movie makers, and all that sort of stuff is slowly building up. But unfortunately, due to the weather this week, I haven't been able to interview anybody, so we couldn't actually record one. So there will become one coming very soon, but it might be slightly out of sync on the Monday. So anyway, see you soon.